What's going on, guys? My name is Brian, also known as That Journaling Guy, and today I'm here with another video to show you where you could be after 100 hours of your urban sketch journey. My goal for this video is to give you a realistic representation of where you could be after 100 hours and 105 days to be specific. A lot of people say they were happy to see me start from zero, start from the very beginning, because all too often we kind of just see the success stories and you see all these really fancy like sketchbook tours. No, I'm here to give you a realistic expectation of where you could be if you spend the time with deliberate practice and deep study of urban sketch. Now, before I get into the video, I want to talk about the 100-hour rule, okay? So the 100-hour rule suggests that with approximately 100 hours of deep study and deliberate practice, an individual can become proficient in any given field that it has an impact in their career life. This is a shortened study, this is a shortened time frame for what we're accustomed to hearing with the 10,000 hour rule, which states that 10,000 hours are required to reach a level of mastery. Someone with 100 hours of deliberate practice is going to appear impressively good to someone who knows nothing at all. You'll go from knowing nothing to knowing more than 95% of the population. So in other words, while it may take 10,000 hours to develop mastery in many fields, we don't need mastery. We need competence, and that was the goal from the very beginning. My skill acquisition journey is never mastery, okay? I'm not in this to become a master of anything. I'm here to develop fluency and competence in the things that I decide or I deem important to me. And the goal was to be able to go to places, go somewhere and be able to capture the spirits, the essence, the look of places I visit in my sketchbook. And that was what I was trying to do. So now what I'm going to talk about in my sketchbook tour, I'm going to do from the very beginning. I'm going to talk about all the sketchbooks that I had, which are these three. I'm going to be talking about my technical skill improvement. I'm going to talk a little bit about experimentation. I'm going to talk about how my style evolved from the beginning into where I think it's developed now. A little bit about my personal growth as an artist and the future direction of where I will be taking urban sketching and where I'm going to be taking my art journey in general. So let's get to the sketchbooks. All right, before we get into it, I want to talk about the supplies that I used, okay? This is all the supplies that I used for my entire urban sketch journey. First, it was going to be the black and gray Tumbo pack that came with different shades of gray. And then this was for my windows specifically, was the Calligraph Archer in Olive, and it was like a tan kind of color, tan gray kind of color. It's really nice. It was a brush pen, but I tried to keep everything a brush pen. Then for my fountain pen, I use a TWSBI Mini in fine nib. I have over 200 hours used with this fountain pen. The fact that it holds so much ink and it was just so reliable, I can't recommend this pen enough. For sketching specifically, I never thought it was going to be as good as it was for sketching as it is, and this is my go-to sketch pen. And then after some experimentation, I found out that the platinum carbon ink was going to be the best fountain pen ink that you could use for urban sketching. Absolutely killer ink, dried super quickly, but the most important was that it's nearly waterproof. Okay, if not waterproof, insanely highly water resistant. This is the ink that I use with all the watercolor stuff, and I'm talking about like really wet watercolor. And I had absolutely no problems. At first I used the Sailor like black ink, then I used like the Shinkai and the Takesume like Pilot inks. No, nothing worked as good as the platinum carbon ink. Then for my watercolor, I ended up using the Winsor and Newton palettes, which were super nice, pretty varied. I think this is a big enough palette for you to be able to capture most of what you wanted. Could not recommend it enough. So that is the supplies that I use. Now we're going to start from the very beginning. So if you saw my last urban sketch video, I will leave a chapter marker of where you can skip to, so you can start from where I began in my last sketchbook tour. So this is my first sketchbook, which is just a moleskin sketchbook. Not necessarily watercolor, but I didn't care because, you know, I just wanted to start. So I started with random scenes, and the secret, okay, a lot of people were asking me where I found my references, and Pinterest is a gold mine for references. Okay, I have an entire Pinterest board where I'm talking over 250 pictures of just urban sketch references. And I did things like urban sketch references. That's what I looked up. I looked up interesting architecture. Like, these are the words that I typed in the search bar to find things like this. And then the good thing about Pinterest is that it's really good at recommending you very similar pictures. So I ended up just going down rabbit holes of finding pictures to use as references. And this, I wasn't taking it seriously yet, okay? This was me dabbling. This was before I decided to do my initial 30-day challenge. These little like ramen shops ended up coming out super good. They ended up coming out really nice. I liked how these came out. Look, you can already tell how jacked like my perspective is, my proportions. I was only doing front-facing elevated views, you know. But here is where I started, and there's a huge gap. So from March, what is it? Since April, and then 2 months later, I was like, yes, I'm taking this seriously now. So this is the very first one, and we'll place this right here too. So I think it's not a bad place to start. Okay, it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. All right, here is rough. This one is definitely a little rough, but I understood that I was trying to add more like dimensionality. I don't even think that's a word. I was trying to add more depth by trying to get the windows to be more inset into the buildings. This right here was my first experimentation into color, and because at this point I was just fascinated with these watercolors and how people used colors to bring these scenes alive. And I was using Tempo pens. These were specifically Tempo pens, and if you look closely, you can see how the ink was smearing. I hadn't found my platinum ink quite yet. So here it was rough. This is all smeared. Here I gave up. All right, it was supposed to be this one, and I was like, wait, I'm not going to be able to fit the entire picture here. So this was here, and this is already nice. This is already starting to look like something. I'm scribbling. I'm doing okay here. These two are still some of my favorites. So here, I'm starting to get more 3D. This looks a little bit more caricature-esque, but still pretty nice. I like how this came out. I like how it looks. There's a good amount of detail for me to feel comfortable. Like, this is still a really good one for only it being like 5 days in. This was nice. And here it was the downfall of my black and gray. I was like, why don't I start adding a little black and gray? And so what I did here was that I grabbed a single gray Tumbo and just started kind of filling in shadows, filling in insides to things where it would be darker or like different, like just give a little bit more to look at, you know. Of course I was smearing everything, but that's okay. That's okay. This one's still really nice. I love how this one came out. Here was the beginning of me trying to be loose, okay? Because I liked that loose sketch feel, all right? I was watching plenty of YouTube videos like Toby Sketch Loose, and he's like, you don't need to get every detail perfectly. You just kind of need to get the idea of the building, like a good representation of what you're looking at. So here, this was fast. This was like da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, but I really like how this one came out too. A little bit different, but nice. Here, I think I did this on stream. This is terrible. I'm trying to add some foliage. It looks gross. It is a mess. I don't know how to add depth to the flowers. I'm literally just scribbling around. This looks very plain. I don't know how else to put it. I don't like this one at all. I think I like this one less, even less. Here, I was trying to go for that watercolor loose feel of like just, painting anything and everything, having the colors, like having really wet watercolors, and they were kind of blending into each other. I did not like this at all. I didn't like it at all. This one, I really liked. This was nice. Ended up being a little pizza place. I felt like I got good depth. I had the looseness, but I was capturing kind of like the building. I like how this one turned out. I was like, okay, I'm starting to see good progress. And really, what you're noticing here is there's a lot of experimentation. Okay, I didn't know it's the same thing with like my fountain pen collection. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what kind of style I wanted to embrace. So I was already trying a bunch of things. I know I wanted to use a fountain pen. That was for sure. But I didn't know if I wanted to capture scenes, buildings, use watercolor, how I was going to be capturing my buildings. So you're already seeing a lot of experimentation, trying different techniques in my, during this initial period. Here, oh man, I think this was my first low effort day. I posted on my Instagram because I was posting on my Instagram and Threads every day and people could follow along. This was just like, I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard day. I just needed to get a sketch done. So I did this and it's all right. The shadowing, getting the shadows right, just grabbing that gray tumbo and smearing the ink a little bit to give it a little bit more of a dark kind of shadow look. This was a complete disaster, but the important thing is I didn't tear it out, okay? I think we tried it again here. Yeah, we tried it again here. And this was just, I think I did too much here. Too much coloring, too much attempted detail. It just looks like a big jumbled mess, but it looks nice. Like, I like how it looks, don't get me wrong. I just feel like I was doing too much. This one is, again, one of my favorites. This one ended up coming pretty okay. And I remember I was listening to Red Rising. I was listening to an audiobook because that's what this time became. It became a very meditative kind of time period in my life where I knew that every day I had 40 minutes to kind of just sit with my thoughts or listen to an audiobook or kind of just hang out with myself and sketch. I think what I really enjoyed about urban sketching was just the fact that it was a bit low effort in that I can turn my brain off and just enjoy the process. I mean, it was an extremely mentally demanding hobby, which I think I really enjoyed. Then we have this. This is a good step up, okay? From what we're seeing on the other ones, in my opinion, this one feels more in your face. It feels like it's coming out at you. I'm starting to get the shadows underneath, you're starting to see 3D aspects to my buildings. I like how loose this one is. Overall, really like this one. Here, I abandoned it, okay? I abandoned it. I just picked something that was out of my skill range. I'll post a picture here. It was just too hard. I didn't know how to even go about it. I felt like the picture looked really nice and intricate, but my drawing just was not giving it justice. So for that same day, I ended up doing this. I think that's the same day. Hold on. And this was where I began to practice my shadows. Yeah, these are really harsh shadows. Really, really harsh shadows. And I believe what I ended up trying to do with these shadows here was I ended up using like an ink wash. I ended up putting some of my Pilot ink into a water brush with water, and I don't think it worked out how I wanted it to work out. But this was my attempt of really trying to add more to the picture. And now you're going to start seeing this be a theme here. I think I really liked the gray and black here, and I was like, I think that might be the style that I go for. Here, a little bit more depth to the picture, it doesn't seem so flat. You could see into the building, a little bit of shading. I'm adding only a little bit of highlighted colors like the foliage, a tiny bit, and then just the shadow on the side. Not done great, but I am really starting to like the blue, gray, black, different shades of gray kind of style here. I don't know what's going on here. I think I just became a little bit happy, but you're starting to notice a style evolution, right? You're starting to see how we go from something like this, a lot of experimentation. This is really where it began. This is where it's really starting to come to a peak. in the gray, black, and kind of like a bluish kind of thing, right? But again, this was just a loose style of sketching. This was my first really intricate sketch, and still to this day, one of my favorites. It's just cool. It just looks cool, in my opinion. Like, you have this window popping out, and it felt nice. It was like straight strokes. I was like, well, I took my time with that roof. Really appreciated this one. Again, pick something just a little too out of my skill level, but I'm pushing it, I'm trying to find things that aren't exactly too easy. I'm trying to find the edge of my skill level, and I think that's important when trying to develop a skill. You want to see where you're at constantly, and you want to be testing yourself to see where you're developing or where you could develop. So I am trying to constantly push where I am in my skill here. And I did try this one here too. This one again was a bit out of my skill range, but I didn't give up as much. I mean, I gave up here, okay? I did. I was like, fuck it. I need to get this done for the day. But like, this is, I don't know what this is. It's not even, and there's no dimension to this. There's no depth. Here you can see it like coming into the perspective of this corner. There was an attempt, okay? There was an attempt, but I don't love it, but we did it. And really, that's what I want to highlight here. This one ended up being really nice too. I like the colors. I don't know why I decided to use orange at this point. Again, the experimentation, it's a constant theme without this throughout this entire sketchbook. There's just a lot of experimentation, a lot of trying out things. Here, there is no depth in the side of the building, like no perspective. It's just straight to the front, in the front kind of thing. Hold on. Okay. And the trees, and I keep trying to add the little foliage highlights, and this window I feel like looks a lot better than when I first tried a window like that in something even something like this. This is supposed to have like that protruding kind of window thing. Here you kind of see it a little bit more with the way things are drawn. Same with this, that it's popping out towards you. This next one, we're starting to get real nice with the black and gray. I like this one. And I was almost going to painstakingly make every single brick in this one, and I didn't. I tried to get to the gist of it, get the idea. But it's looking nice. The proportions are still a little wonky. And again, I have I don't have any kind of formal art background. I don't really understand art concepts as in depth as I probably should, but I did study a lot doing this challenge, and I was trying to brush up on a lot of different skills, because urban sketching takes a lot of different skills. Honestly, it incorporates a lot of different things: proportion, perspective, lighting. If you want to get good at urban sketching, these are the things you have to look into. Here, this really sucked. This still really sucked. Like, why are they coming up like this? And then I don't know, it's not making any sense. This was a hard building for me. It was not looking great. I gave up on both sides, but I didn't delete it. I didn't delete this. I didn't delete this, but we kept it moving. And that's really what's important. You got to keep going. Here, I started to feel really stuck. Okay. This is a little shop here. I started to feel really stuck because I started to think that all of my art just kept looking the same. I was like, all my sketches are starting to kind of look very similar, and I guess I had fallen into an artistic style, and I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready to fall into my style yet because I still wanted to experiment. This isn't where I wanted to be, but this looks nice. I don't hate how this looks. I just started to feel like I was stagnating in my progress. This was nice. I don't know about the shadows. Okay, the shadows aren't great, but this was nice. I did this in my bed, mind you, okay, with a little board that I had. This looks cool. Like, there's a bit of the popping out, the perspective. There's depth under that kind of roof thing. This one was good. I like the looseness of it, the sketch, a little bit more detail, a detailed attempt. And we go back to simplicity. Again, low effort day. I was like, let me just get this out of the way. Let me finish. Okay, with this one, I don't know. This one, I decided to go really hard on that detail for no specific reason. I did every single little brick. Can you see that shading on top in there? Like, I don't know why I went so in depth with this one. I just did. I was bored that day, I guess. I was like, I'll do every brick. It came out nice, but you learn to not really want to do this. Okay, this is just too much work, unless that's the kind of style I was trying to develop. It was not what I was trying to do. Here, okay, this one's really nice. I really like how this shop came out. And this is where I started to do this thing that I had noticed somebody do on Instagram that I felt really helped their art pop out. Her name is Sophie. I'm going to tag her her Instagram right here. And because of her, I started to outline all of my buildings in black. Like, this was the first time that I ever did it, because she does beautiful, beautiful sketches in her traveler's notebook. And I absolutely loved how her sketches turned out when she had that really thick, bold black outline. And this was the beginning of it. And I think this really fell into my style. This is what I started to do this. And you're going to see me doing this pretty much for the rest of my urban sketching kind of career. Here, this killed me. I'm sorry. The stairs, okay, look at the stairs. This was so fucking hard. This was, again, at the edge of my skill. I couldn't do this. I didn't know what to do. I still, to this day, I don't know how I would go about doing these stairs. I know that you're breaking down everything to just simple shapes, but dude, I was trying. I got the triangles. I was like, how do I, this was frustrating. So I abandoned it. I tried it for the day. This counted as my sketch, and I posted that. Here, didn't go in depth with any of the coloring or anything, but yeah, we got the thick black outline in the back, and it really pops. It really helps it pop. This one was super simple. This was using the wash, the black wash. Looks nice, right? Not bad. I don't know why I gave up on this one. I think I got the perspective all wrong, and I was like, I'm not really feeling it. I felt like it was maybe a little too simple in the way it looked. I couldn't make it look interesting. At this point, I'm looking for pretty interesting buildings to draw. I'm looking for ways to make it more dynamic, and this just kind of I ended up just leaving it. So for that day, I did sort of a close-up of another ramen shop, and I threw in a little bit of a pink. Again, we're trying again the loose style here, and at this point, I feel like I was really struggling with adding detail. Like, I wanted my drawings to look more detailed, but I couldn't figure out how to add a lot of detail. You know, I tried to add the bench here. That looks garbage. I didn't even make it look 3D at all. Like, I didn't try to really give it depth. And I was struggling here. And again, my color palette is all messed up. Like, what am I going for here? Is it the black and gray? Why am I adding the orange? The purple, pink just doesn't even make sense. I like how it looked, but it wasn't one of my favorites. So here, this is the first time I used white, like a white gel pen, to kind of, I don't know, highlight the windows. Again, a little bit of a weird one. I don't have anything nice to say about it, but I mean, this one kind of looks like it goes in though, right? Like it sets in, so that's pretty cool. We're starting to get now towards the banger. This is a banger one, okay? This one is absolutely one of my favorite, and I was again still listening to Red Rising here, and I remember the part of the story that I was listening to, because this one ended up coming out so good. I don't even know why. It's not even like completely accurate to the reference, but it's one of my best ones. I think to date, this is still one of my best ones. With the color, this was watercolor too, and it was I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, boss, this one wasn't great. we don't talk about this one. We just move on from that. All right, so this one is this one, but I wasn't going to be able to fit everything, so I kind of shrunk it and tried again. And this is where we're at. I like this one. I don't think the colors are exact, and they're definitely not, but I'm still using the gel pens here. I'm getting the essence of the building, and it's pretty interesting. And again, the thick black line around is just kind of like a staple in my art at this point, right? I'm experimenting a little bit more with watercolor here, because this is watercolor, and I'm mixing colors, and I'm trying to really get the shadows down and trying to imagine where the light is coming from. But this one was a good one. Here, these two aren't bad. This one, a little wonky, but loose. And I was really struggling with how I was going to go back and forth between loose and not loose. Okay, did I want to be super exact in my urban sketching, or did I just want to be able to capture something quickly, capture something fast, and not go loose? Same with this one. I actually made an Instagram video, and I'll like play it while I'm talking here, of me drawing this exactly like on camera, so people had an idea of how I was going through this process. But it wasn't exact either. It was loose, but it was fun. I liked this style, and I still like how it looks. But some people don't like it. Some people could think it's ugly, and that's okay. I just messed up the look on this one. Like, I don't know where the dimension is. The perspective is weird, but nothing the little black line can't solve. And that's what we did. This was a banger. Pew, pew, pew. I'm about to just start putting this every time I think one of the drawings or sketches is a banger. I'm just gonna put the little gun emoji, because this is a banger. This one came out super nice, and mind you, I spend probably between 30 minutes to 50 minutes on each drawing. This was on the shorter end. This took me like 20 minutes, actually 25. It was really fast, but I got it. I think I got it. I was like, something clicked. I was like, I understand the matrix now. Yeah, I didn't want to do it this day. Okay, these 2 days, I was dreading this. I was dreading this challenge. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm not meant to do this. This fucking sucks. I don't want to do this every single day. And then that's really the hardest part, is sitting down and doing this every day, especially on days when you're very busy, especially on days when you really, really, really don't want to do this. And I was pissed the hell off, because what is this perspective? I don't even understand how that's coming in or why it's so elevated. I was just mad. I was mad at myself. I was mad at this challenge. I was like, I just want to get this out of the way. There were days where I just wanted to get out of the way. I messed up the perspective again the next day, and I was just pissed off. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm sorry, excuse my language, but I was mad. Okay, I was I was irritated. Like, this should have come down here and then gone up like that, but what? Blah, blah. I just gave up here, but I think I retried on the next page. I was like, I made it too big. And so whoop, we did, and we got a banger. This is a banger. Okay, are you starting to see the style? Are you starting to see the vision that I'm seeing here? This is the vision, the black and gray with the fountain pen. These are nice. This is where I'm starting to be like, oh, are we actually starting to urban sketch? Is this coming to be something? Is this starting to look good? This was an experiment in how fast I could draw. I wanted to be able to draw something quickly and not spend too much time sketching. If I ever decided to like go out and be on site somewhere, I didn't want to spend 2 hours being on site. I wanted to capture something fast. This took me 15 minutes. Exactly. It actually took me 14 minutes and like 21 seconds. It's not bad. I'm not mad at this. This would be perfectly fine for a sketchbook and have an idea of where I was or what I was doing. Again, little test cases of me trying to do a little bit something out of my comfort zone, a little bit out of my skill range. So we moved on. And here, I think I was really focusing on perspective a lot. This one kind of goes a little bit too short off. This one isn't bad, but the stairs really messed me up, and I think stairs are one of my biggest weakness in urban sketching in general. But this one ends up looking nice. This one, it shortens off a little bit too much because perspective is still something that I struggle with now. But this one isn't bad. This one is loose and sloppy, but I have a soft spot for it in my heart. I don't know why. I think this one was still a little bit harder than what I was used to. and it's okay. I wouldn't say it's great. Again, the stairs are killing me, dude. The stairs are like, but what happened in this corner? You know, like what was going on here? These don't even match up. But anyway, I don't hate it. I don't. It's sloppy, but I don't hate it. It's nice. This one, banger. This one was nice. It was simple, but I caught it. I know I got it because I felt it when I saw the picture and I saw this and I put them side by side. I was like, banger, straight up. One of my favorites. Even the color felt good. I left the open space. You know, I didn't overdo it. Banger. A little bit of a focus. Oh, wait. I don't know if it wants to. Okay. So, one of those days where I didn't want to do it. I just got the outline, a little bit of shading. I was like, sorry guys, I'm having a shitty day. Don't want to do it. Let's move on. Here, straight up one line. Okay, I did this all with one line, and I thought that was a really interesting concept. At this point, I had seen a lot of Instagram reels and a lot of videos of people just drawing entire scenes and people with one line. So I was like, and this is the hyperlapse of me doing it, also in one line, which I really enjoyed. It's not exactly like the building. I don't think it's anything remotely close, but I think what sets it apart was the one line. I never ended up doing this again though. I don't know why, but again, a little bit of experimentation, you know, trying out various techniques, trying out various approaches during these periods, trying different mediums. That's what's important when trying anything new. You want to find out what works for you, what looks good to you, how you feel. Ooh, okay. These are starting to get a little bit more detailed. This one's a little wonky, but I couldn't get the whole building, and that was just poor planning on my part. But it looks nice. Got the slant. It looks a little decrepit. I've got the little brick details, nothing too crazy. Here, I really start trying to add like detail with my pens, like just my pen work. I wanted to do just fountain pen ink, black and white, nothing too crazy. And I overdid the shadows a little bit. It doesn't make sense why, but I did. Okay, banger. Okay, this one, the outline. Okay, I used a lot of black in here. I outlined the edge. I used dark colors. This one just was fire for me. I really like how this one came out. It felt like I got the stairs decently well too. Like a banger. And this was my first attempt at people and a scene. Okay, I had never included people in anything in any of my drawings, or even included like a significant amount of buildings to the point where it would compose a scene. This was my first scene, and I think I got the proportions right. I think I got the colors right. The people are ugly. My people are ugly, but they're there. They show, you know, it's alive. It's nice. This one was a straight banger. I really started to like lighthouses a lot. I feel like I ended up getting pretty decent at drawing lighthouses, so that's what I did significantly. Whenever I was feeling like I was having an off day or I needed a little bit of an energy boost, I just drew lighthouses. Tell me this banger. Okay, banger. Tell me this proportion wasn't spot on. This was one of my best proportions, I think, and getting the perspective correctly and getting the entire building in everything, in its essence, got the cages, got the right amount of detail, wasn't overdone. Banger. One of my favorites. And what are you noticing? Yeah, it's all the black and gray and blues and the outlines of most of my buildings. This one was okay. Not my favorite, but it was okay. I don't know why I made this one so small. This one, I guess I overestimated how much space I was going to need for the building. It's not bad. It's like cute. It's like a nice little cute building. But I went back to just doing single buildings, and I think that's just where I'm really comfortable. I'm really terrible with scenes in general, like doing like big, intricate and detailed scenes. So I tried to just focus on one single building at a time, and that's what most of my sketchbooks consist of. I don't know what this was. Oh, I was in a car that was driving when I did this sketch. So I didn't get any of it right. I'm surprised I even got this as much as this done while I was moving, but I just needed to get the sketch done because I was going to be busy for that entire day and I wasn't going to have any time later at night. This was my attempt, again, a little bit of exploration into going into more modern architecture. I feel like up until this point I was doing like Victorian kind of houses or ramen shops or like lighthouses. I was trying to do more modern drawings and I ended up really hating modern buildings. I couldn't find a way to make them look interesting. I couldn't find a way to bring them to life to what I was seeing. It just felt so boring. And I think that says a lot about the design and architecture of modern day society. We just don't see things like we used to. Everything's so minimal now. Everything's so plain. Still not one of my worst drawings, but not in love with drawing modern buildings. The lighthouse continues with a nice little outline. This isn't bad. It's just that this one was cool, okay? Because this is with the Marriott Hotel where they hold the DC Fountain Pen Show, the Super Show. I went outside, I took the picture myself, and then I came home and I drew it because I'm still a little bit shy about going outside and having people kind of like watch me draw and like critique me. But this one came out nice. Like this one, I think I got the perspective, there's depth, it wasn't overly like complicated. Banger. Pretty nice. Okay, this is the most important one. Okay, this drawing right here is a culmination of what my entire urban sketch experience was. I think this was at the end of 60 days or like 90, one of those. This right here is the first building that I drew starting this challenge, and I redid it here. So if you need a reminder of how this looked, okay, here it is. This is how it's supposed to look. Okay, I'm gonna put it right here. Got it? This was my first attempt at that same building. This is the second attempt. This was my first attempt. This right here proved everything that it needed to prove to me. That I was making progress, that things were getting better, that I was progressing, that my style was starting to develop. I was starting to see things. Like if I saw something like this where it was black and gray, a bold outline in the back, and like I could say, hey, yeah, that's mine. I could pick this out of an outline. Like what are those called? The lineups in the police station? If they had my drawing there, I'd be able to pick it out. Because I'm starting to develop my artistic style. It was black and gray and different shades of gray with some blue and then the outline. And if it's a lighthouse, forget about it. This one came out really nice too. The depth that's coming out at you. It looks like a sticker. I can just rip this off and place it somewhere. Super nice. This was the most important drawing of this entire challenge though. Of my entire urban sketch career. This was it. Absolutely dropped my jaw that I had gotten as far as I had in 100 days. It's a big difference. So that was the end of my first sketchbook, and I found it fitting to do that sketch. Now, I'm going to do my second sketchbook. I know this is a relatively long video, I apologize. But I didn't finish this. There's only a few drawings in here, but you do see that I kind of already just fell into what my style was going to be for as long as I started urban sketching. This came out really nice. This came out like garbage. I don't know what went wrong here. This was one of those days where I don't want to fucking do this. Please save me. I don't know what went wrong here. And boom, like this is it. This is my style now for urban sketching. This is it. Having one building kind of popping out at you, getting the black bold outline, and lighthouses. Okay, that is my style. So if you ever see these anywhere where it's lighthouses and grays, blues, and blacks, be like, hey, that's Brian's urban sketch. If you ever see it on Pinterest and they're trying to credit it as theirs, they're lying. I think I went back to front facing. There's more. Look at that. Look, it's popping out at you. It's nice. A low effort day, but much better than my other low effort days. You know, look at that. Like it's popping out. It's popping at you. This perspective really surprised me. I got the stairs down. I didn't finish this side because I was trying to focus up on this building. But this was nice. Okay, this one I'm very proud of. Look at this. Compared to this, it's not bad. This looks pretty good. In terms of like getting the shading with the fountain pen. It's just fountain pen work here. And this is one of the ones where I was like, whoa, I can really do this now. Like, I think I can go out and really capture if I like, but I still struggled with going on site and like framing things in my mind and deciding what I was going to frame. So using just references really helped significantly, and in the end I think kind of hindered me. But this one's a banger. This is it, guys. This is my style now. This is the style I ended up developing for everything. It's just the black and grays and blues with the thick outlines, and then the lighthouses. I loved it. I love the style now. I love that this is what it became. I love that this is where I'm going with it. I love that I'm just focusing on one specific building. I love it. This one's plain as hell, but it looks nice. It looks very generic, but the proportions are good. The perspective is good. I've got like depth where I need depth. Like, you can tell what it is. And here we are testing our limits once again. I don't even need to say much anymore, because at this point I'm just going to sound like a broken record. But this is it. Welcome to That Journaling Guy's urban sketch style. Here the shading is kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie, like, I got the shadows kind of nice with this one. A really low effort day, I was gonna start doing like really intricate windows. Didn't love it. Lighthouse, and then the last two were these, where I didn't do black and gray, and I did most of my shading with just my fountain pen, and I really love how these came out, but I kept the black border. I love how these came out. They look nice. And then the final two of this sketchbook. And that was it. That was sketchbook 1 and sketchbook 2, and at this point I had hit 100 hours in my sketchbooks. And for the final part, I'm just going to quickly go through my experimentation with watercolor. I know this is an incredibly long video. I really apologize, but I want you guys to really have an idea of the progress and like where you could be, okay, after practicing this for as much as I did. This was all my watercolor book. That's all this was. I'm not going to have the references for these ones. Maybe for some of them if they were really nice. But this was all my practice with watercolor. And I like these, don't get me wrong. I really like these. Uh-oh. I use this book to get more scenes, you know, to get bigger, capture bigger things in here, not just singular buildings. I gotta have my lighthouses, you know, my lighthouses were my babies. These ended up being super nice. This one just felt a little too like meticulous, like I was trying a little bit too hard to get it just right. So I didn't love how this one came out. My magnum opus, I don't even think that's the saying. This one was the one that I tried the absolute hardest with. Without a doubt, it took me over 2.5 hours to do this, to get the proportion right. I was doing outlines. I'll see if I could find the pictures and post them here and here so you can have an idea of the process that I went through to do this. Absolutely one of the hardest drawings I've ever done. This one was one of the laziest drawings. This was me inside of a Starbucks. Not bad, but not great. This was me doing a little bit of more housework. This was me doing like lazy watercoloring, like nice and fast, and getting the buildings, getting the idea of the buildings. This one looks really nice. Nice and simple. Not bad. And then for my final one, it was this. Ta-da! All right. So I know that this was an incredibly long video. I just wanted to have this so somebody could come back and reference this in the future and follow my journey every step of the way and realize that it's possible to get pretty decent, pretty comfy in urban sketching. Obviously, this isn't something that I'm going to stop. It's something I'm going to keep doing, just probably not as consistently as 105 consecutive days every day. I'll be coming back to this periodically, but I really enjoyed this and I can't wait to go on to my next artistic challenge, which I haven't decided yet exactly. It's probably going to be pixel art, but I guess you guys will find out when we get to the video. So let's go back to other me. And that is a wrap on my 100-hour urban sketch journey. I hope you guys found a new appreciation for this style of urban sketching, or you were inspired. If you were either or, please consider leaving a like or subscribing and leaving a comment down below of where you are in your artistic journey. And if you have any other questions that I can answer about my experience with urban sketching, I would love to answer. I just want to remind you guys that the road to mastery is a continuous one. With each brush, each stroke of the brush, and each stroke of the pen, you're one step closer. So it's all about patience and perseverance, and just trying to remind you not to be so hard on yourself and to take your time. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you got this far into the video, leave a little fountain pen in the comments so I know you got to the end. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much. Peace.